So I just want to make a short little video since I haven't uploaded anything in a while. Apologies for that, by the way. It's just that I haven't really been motivated to work on videos that much. Plus, I've been writing what is essentially a fanfiction, so a lot of the time has been spent in that department as well. Speaking of fanfictions, Project Eden's Garden came out, and it is absolutely amazing. And this video is going to go over all the reasons why I love it so much. I think before anything else, I should really go over how beautiful this fangen really is. I can't count the amount of times where I just stopped and gazed at the visuals of the game. Whether it be the pristine sprites or the immaculate environments, this game is an absolute marvel to set your eyes on. And I think what makes it even better is having the knowledge that each and every asset was lovingly handcrafted by a member of the team. And you can just imagine the overjoyed look on their faces once all the pieces have been finally put together. It really is something. Since we're already on the topic of aesthetics, I also want to go over the audio side of things. I'm pretty sure all of the prologue soundtrack is completely original, and it really does make a difference as listening to a whole new set of songs gives the players a feeling of a fresh new experience, as if we're stepping into a brand new world. Plus, all the songs are just fantastic, some of them even so much as surpassing their Danganronpa counterparts in terms of quality. I think the two songs that stand out to me the most are Tozu's theme, which is just so chillingly creepy that it's amazing, and a song near the end of the prologue, which is so darn catchy that I sing along to it despite the fact that it has little to no lyrics whatsoever. Just like the soundtrack, the voice acting is also top notch. I think this is something I should especially point out, as voice acting is an incredibly underappreciated part of the creative process. So the fact that they were able to get such amazing VAs all without a budget is really impressive. Literally every single one of these VAs did an absolutely phenomenal job, and each made me feel for the characters, whether it be laughing at their comedic delivery or shivering at the raw emotion during specific scenes. If you know, you know. Now that I've gone over the aesthetics of this game, let's jump right into the story and its characters. What I really love about this game is that, despite being a fan game of Danganronpa, you really have no idea what's going on, which is why I'm keeping details about this game to a minimum so you can play this thing for yourself. It takes a lot of twists and turns, which not only benefits the subversion of viewer expectations, but it also benefits the characters as each of them get a lot more chances to shine than they do in the typical Danganronpa prologue. Speaking of typical Danganronpa stuff and how Eden's Garden subverts it, I really like how the protagonist, Damon Maitsu, feels like a commentary on the concept of Danganronpa and its ultimate students. I distinctly remember some critics of Danganronpa having the same thoughts as Damon, and it's really interesting to see it played out in a narrative story such as this one. Don't think that Eden's Garden only pulls from Danganronpa though. As a fan of the Zero Escape series, I can tell that this fan game has taken a lot of inspiration from it for the backgrounds and even the tone, and some of the characters too. It really gives the prologue a unique feeling, and I always wanted to see a crossover between the two franchises, even when Eden's Garden isn't exactly that. I think before we go, I'd like to go over each of the characters and give my thoughts on them. Sorry for the weird transition, and I just want to get a video out for you guys, and this part, from now on, will kind of be unscripted. Okay, first up, we got Damon Maitsu. I already kind of talked about him in the earlier section of the video, but another thing I want to talk about him is that he's an attempt at a protagonist that has a more morally gray set of ethics. And while I think that makes him kind of unlikable, that is perfectly intended of his character, and it's really interesting to think about. There's also, if you were to play the game, you kind of notice that, some parts of, like, the protagonist rival setup, so you know how in the typical Danganronpa formula, you got, like, the protagonist, the assistant, and the rival. Essentially, what I'm trying to say is that they kind of do some, like, flipping around, and it's really cool. You just gotta check it out. Next up, we got Eva. Eva Tsunaka. I found she was a pretty funny character, I feel. I tend not to enjoy, characters like her, but she was really fun. I distinctly remember enjoying her. before playing the game, there was something I was a bit confused about her character, but the game actually answers that, and it answers it in a pretty fun way, so keep that in mind when you're playing the game, and I hope you enjoy that part as much as I did. Next up is Desmond Hall? Yeah, Desmond Hall, sorry. It's just that the character list I'm showing only shows each character's first name. Sorry about that. You know, next up is Desmond. I think he's a pretty cool character. There's a bunch of wacky characters in this game, and you can tell that Desmond is one of the more down-to-earth characters. And while that does mean he'll need a little more time to shine, he still has his fun moments, like, you know, kind of this back and forth between him and Ingrid about, like, guns versus bladed weapons. It's really fun, and I can't wait to see what he has in store. I feel like, if you think about it, his down-to-earthness makes him stand out in a way. So I can't wait to see what more this guy has to offer. The next character on our list is Winona. Winona is pretty funny, and a really funny part about her character is that she and Damon kind of have very similar moralities, but Damon's like, wow, I'm that person, yeah, what a loser. And it's really funny because Damon, you're literally her, except Winona is I feel like she's funnier than Damon. I like her more than Damon because she's funnier and I feel she'd be more self-aware. And she has a lot of funny faces too. I think it's really interesting to see. Oh yeah, because no! Sorry about that. My computer shut off. It was at 1% or something. Anyway, what I was about to say was that what's really cool about Winona and Damon is that the two of them have really similar personalities, and that's going to be really interesting later on in the game. So yeah, Winona is a pretty interesting character. The next character we have is Toshiko, and I think what I remember most about her is that, well, I mean, the biggest thing I remember for her is the fact that I gave her, like, a Mickey Mouse voice. Like this! But what is the second biggest thing I remember of her is that she's the only one of the members who's, like, a child. I mean, Diana's 17, that's technically a child, but, Toshiko's 14, and she's significantly younger than everyone else in the group, which is pretty interesting to think about, and again, really reminds me of Zero Escape. Honestly, having a Danganronpa game that has differing age groups is pretty interesting to think about. Toshiko is... Also, I think there's a running gag of Toshiko shipping the characters together, and I think that's kind of funny. It's like, Harumph! You should... I don't know. I think she'll be an entertaining character as the series goes on. Next one is Ulysses. I really expected him to be a really snooty, uppity character, like, actually, the body was found, but he's actually kind of a chiller character, and I really like him. He's like my second favorite character. The whole gimmick with him is that I think he spends all his time doing history, that not only does he, like, have a really, really bad sleep schedule, but since he stores all his brain with history, he basically takes everything and he just jots notes for everything else, including remembering people's names. I think he's a really funny character, and I can't wait to see more of him. Our next character is Mark. I forgot his last name, but he has a nickname like Mayhem. Mark Brewski, I think? A lot of people have described him as the one who does the least in this prologue. But I think there are some things to talk about with this guy. For one, his design, I feel like he's the lankiest character in the game. Maybe he's on his journey to become, like, the Onceler, Jack Skellington. The second thing that I think is kind of funny with him is that he always looks like he's just so out of it. I think that's pretty funny. Where you got, like, what's the guy? Chet Dawson is like, hey, are you enjoying this? And you just see Mark just, I don't know, really, he's not saying anything, but he looks, I don't know, tired out of it. It's pretty funny. Next character is Diana. And personally, I feel like, out of the members, she's kind of my least favorite. And I think it's not because she's a bad character or anything, it's just that all of the other characters, in my opinion, I just think they're a lot more interesting. Even the other down-to-earth characters, like Desmond, Eloise... Wait, did I talk about Eloise? If I didn't, I'll go back to Eloise. Okay, so, for Eloise, oh man, just imagine if this entire Diana section is just me talking about Eloise. Okay, so, just recording this out of the way in case I completely skipped over Eloise. I think she was one of my favorite characters before the prologue. I think she'd have a really fun personality, but after the prologue, I think, like, she's still, like, a great character. I just feel like more should have been done with her, because there was this really sweet moment where Wolfgang kind of brings her out of her shell. It's really sweet. I just wish we kind of saw more of Eloise. I feel like she can be a great character, but I feel like her potential hasn't really shined yet. Maybe she will, I don't know, maybe she'll have a moment in Chapter 1, or a future chapter, and I feel like she has the potential to be a great character, but she hasn't reached that potential just yet. Okay, back to Diana. Diana, oh yeah, I think when it comes to, even though, I feel like she's the least, I wouldn't say the least interesting thing, because there's actually something really, really interesting about her, and that's that she comes from Hope's Peak Academy, which is the only reference to the canon Danganronpa games that Project Eden's Garden does. That's really interesting. It makes you really wonder what's up with her. But other than that, I just don't find her personality interesting. She's just kind of this optimistic character. There was a good moment with her near the end that I thought was kind of funny, but I just don't... She's just kind of like a happy, optimistic girl, and I don't think there's anything that interesting with her, aside from the cool Hope's Peak bit. With other down-to-earth characters like Desmond, Eloise, Mark, they all have, like, funny, kind of little quirks to them that make them lovable. But for Diana, I don't really know. I don't think, at least so far, I don't think her personality is as intriguing as the others. Again, this is not saying she's a bad character, it's just that when you're in a cast with such amazing characters, there are some characters that are gonna be better than others. And I do think she's really suspicious, and I think she's gonna have a really cool moment later on, but for now, I don't really have any strong opinions on her. From having very few strong opinions to all of the opinions, we've got Wolfgang, who is the best character. If you played the game, you would know this fact. He's the best, and, you know, like, he does everything right. He's great. He's a fantastic, perfect character. Amazing, wonderful, amazing, perfect, best character. Like, what else could I say about him? He's great. He's so great that I'm gonna, despite the fact that Damon is the main character, I'm gonna make him the character in the thumbnail, because he's that amazing. Great character, amazing, fantastic, 10s out of 10. What else can I say about him? Yeah. Alright, we're going to the next character, and that next character is Kai. Kai... Oh, wait, let's go back to Wolfgang. There was one thing I want to say about Wolfgang. He's very different than I thought he'd be before playing the game. Yet despite that, I still really love him. I think he was the one character that really stood out to me before the game came out. And usually, when I play the game versus how I see the characters, my favorite character tends to change because, you know, you actually get to know the characters. But this is not the case for Project Eden's Garden. He was my favorite before the game came out, and he's my favorite after the game came out. And I actually think this is actually a good segue to Kai, because like Wolfgang, what I thought he'd be as a character is a lot different than when he actually is as a character. I thought he was going to be this overly pompous, egotistical show-off and I bet he probably is if he weren't in a killing game, but in this game, he's absolutely hilarious. He's essentially how you would take these influencer characters if they have nothing, they're completely defenseless, they have nothing to turn back to. It's just like, he's really funny. I think if he's kind of a loser, but he's also kind of funny. I like how all of his sprites make him look like he's on the verge of tears. It's hilarious. But I do want to say, and there's also a lot of funny moments in the prologue. It's like, oh man, can't I just leave? I don't know. But I also think he's one of the best characters, because I think out of all the characters in this game, you as a player would most likely be him. I think he has one of the most kind of realistic reactions of being in this killing game. I think that's not only really enjoyable, but it also had some realism into the game. Where he's just like, I don't know, constantly scared all the time. You know, like, that's how you would be in a killing game. I really wonder how he's gonna act later on in the game. I think it's gonna be really fun, and I hope he lives at least a little, I don't know, I hope he lives a little bit more, because he's a fun character. Alright, speaking of fun characters, we've got Ingrid. Probably one of the greatest concepts in this game. We got this blacksmith. I think she's kind of like sweethearted. And she always likes tradition. You got this like kind of tradition versus modernity and a theming with her. It's like she prides herself on making weapons completely handmade, not really relying on technology. And I think I know this is gonna sound real weird, but I think her southern accent really makes her a super fun character. Whoever acted her did a fantastic job. She's so enjoyable as a character, and like I said before, with it's kind of this back and forth between her and Desmond, where she creates bladed weapons while Desmond uses guns which are made with machinery, and she's like, nowadays people they're all focusing on modern weapons and they're ineffective. You gotta go with the classics, alright? And it's really funny. She has so many funny moments. Her acting is amazing. And her design is really good too. Such a great character. And there's so many fun moments with her. I think she's one of my favorites too. So yeah, like she's fantastic. I can't wait to see more of her. Alright, next character is Jean. And not Jean. I missed two characters. Okay, next character actually is Jet Dawson, the ultimate drag racer. I think the main thing people are thinking about with this guy is that he is completely covered from head to toe, and it really makes you wonder what his face looks like. But I think by far the most interesting thing about him is that he laughs like Scooby-Doo. He's like, honestly, it makes me wish he sounded like Scooby-Doo all of the time. See, you gotta think of these ideas. These are the ideas that can make a franchise what it is. Anyway, there's also another really interesting thing is that he really loves horror stuff. He really likes escape rooms. So I think it's really interesting to see him interact in this killing game formula, because I feel like maybe he has some ideas on, like, maybe he watches a lot of murder mysteries, like, where he kind of thinks what happened in the murder solely because he sees it a lot in horror media. I think that'd be pretty funny. Personally, I feel like Jet is kind of a character that you either like or don't like. He's one of those out there characters. And personally, I'm kind of on the side of him not being my thing. But that isn't to say that he isn't an effective character. It's just that some characters appeal to certain people. You know, like, I really like some of those Danganronpa characters apply to that, like Kazuichi Soda. Many people like him, many people dislike him, I like him. So I just think there isn't a problem with Jet. I just feel like his sense of humor doesn't appeal to me. Wait, I just found something. Okay, sorry about that. So, yeah, So yeah, I think Jet can be a really interesting character, but so far, I'm not really vibing with his sense of humor. I just personally didn't really find him funny. Now, Grace, if you've seen a lot of the promotional art, you've seen that she's kind of one of the prominent characters, and I think I like her. Yeah, I like her. So I think out of all of the characters, she feels like the most Danganronpa character of all time. When I say of all time, of all of the cast. And I think that's really fun to see. Whenever she's like talking, it feels like I'm playing a Danganronpa game. And I think they really, the gang, the writers, and the designers too, have done a fantastic job at kind of revitalizing the Danganronpa energy when it comes to her. I think she's had a lot of funny moments. So, she's also one of these characters that I expected one thing and got another. When I first saw Grace Madison, I thought she was going to be like a kind of stern, cold, serious character, but she's actually a lot more short-tempered, and it's like, she all like hurls insults at everyone. Some of those insults, I don't really understand why they're insults, but hey, if she says it, it's an insult. You can't deny with that logic. You can't. There is a really funny moment with her too. Multiple funny moments, in fact. So when you play the game, try to look out for them. And I think she's a fun character, and many people will like her. All right, John. Finally, we're at him. I think he's one of the most fun characters conceptually. Essentially, he's a ship captain who looks and acts like a pirate, but he can't stand being called a pirate, or compared to a pirate, because pirates commit crimes and theft, while he just wants to sail the sea. But John, haven't you listened to the Lazy Town song? If you love to sail the seas, you are a pirate! You are a pirate, John! Okay, but seriously, I think if you think about it, other than his really fun concept, he's actually one of the more down-to-earth characters too. But I really like his concept, and I think he's a fun character. So yeah, that's John. Sorry if these descriptions are kind of weird, I'm just kind of thinking them on the spot. I hope you don't mind. The next character, and I think the final student, is Cassidy, the ultimate pro gamer. I think she's a really fun character. I really like her design, and she knows Ace Attorney. So yeah, I think her gimmick's pretty cool too. I think she, that kind of separates herself from the other gamer characters, especially Chiaki. She's very different from Chiaki. I also think that the way she does references is pretty fun. She loves Ace Attorney, like who doesn't love Ace Attorney? I think Cassidy is one of my favorites. I don't know. I like her. I didn't expect to like her, but I really did like her, and she's a fun character. I can't wait to see more of her too. Now, we're getting on to Tozu and Mara, the kind of Monokuma. Well, not really Monokumas, but the ones overseeing the killing game. And I think making them full-blown humans is a really good idea, and I think they have a different energy than Monokuma. Like I said, it feels very Zero Escape-esque, but also, what I really didn't expect. Oh wait, I do want to say something. If any of you have watched the hit TV show The Owl House, Tozu really reminds me of the character Emperor Bellows. I don't know. Have any Owl House fans felt the same way? I don't know. But what I really didn't expect out of Tozu is that he kind of has a sense of humor to him as well. I think that is fun, but he's also, like, he has his really threatening moments, and they are really threatening. But also, you know, he's allowed to be a little goofy too, and I like that. Mara is also a pretty threatening presence. I feel like I'll need to know a little bit of her to get a better feeling for her, but right now, I feel like she's I'm really happy they added her in the game. I feel like it changes the dynamics a little, and I like that, and it also makes sense given the nature of Tozu and Mara. If you play the game, you'll know what I'm talking about. And I hope me talking about this really makes you play the game. Because it's a really good game. I think that should be it. I'll see you later. Bye! Bye!